Hello, friends, and welcome back to Malicious Compliance Stories. Today's story is about a so-called IT professional who refused to stop using someone else's email for his junk mail, and when he decided to be an absolute troll about it, OP had no choice but to take things to the next level. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. He used my email as his spam dump, so I got even in the pettiest way. One day, many years ago, I got an email addressed to someone who had the same first initial and last name as I do. For the purpose of this story, I'll call him G-Man. As with anyone who uses a common email address, think first initial plus last name, you sometimes get an email that isn't meant for you. It was mostly incidental things like receipts and the occasional personal email. I was chalking them up to being a data entry error. Perhaps they misheard the email address, and instead of typing in gclastname@gmail.com, they typed in glastname@gmail.com. No big deal. In the cases where I could, I'd politely reply to the sender and let them know that I wasn't the intended recipient and to please let G-Man know that he's giving out the wrong email address going forward. It was never successful. I'd still get emails for G-Man, and it was for things that I'd think you'd want to receive, like order receipts or something that had a confirmation number attached to it. I tried to track down G-Man, but to no avail. There were multiple G-Man last name on social media, so I could never 100% confirm which one it might have been. And so this went on for years, until finally one day I got a personal email addressed to G-Man that referenced the company he worked for. Aha! Now I had something. I looked him up. It turns out that G-Man is the systems manager at said company. His LinkedIn bio says that he's an IT professional. That's interesting. I find his company email and forward him the email, also advising him that the other address he's using is attached to another person, and it'd be great if he could be more mindful of what he's typing in or giving out. Again, I was polite to my request to him. He replied and apologized. I thought, it's finally over. But it wasn't over. Oh no, far from it. The emails that I received that were addressed to G-Man actually began to increase in volume. Now I'm getting emails for mailing lists and account signups and all sorts of other crap. This guy, this so-called IT professional, is clearly using my email address as his spam dump, knowing that it went to an actual person. I would have to sort through dozens upon dozens upon dozens of emails daily as a result of this, and as we all know, once you're on one mailing list, you tend to end up on a lot more mailing lists. By now, I've decided that clearly this clown is deliberately being a jackwagon, so it's gloves off and game on. I decide to extract revenge at any opportunity. It started out simple enough. If I got an account sign up, I'd click the link to verify it and then promptly log in and deactivate the account. It worked for a bit, but then there would be another sign up, so I got more creative. I'd log into the account, change all the information, and most importantly, the password, usually to something like, I am a gigantic a-hole, which would leave the account active but totally inaccessible since any attempt at password recovery sent the email to my account, which was then promptly ignored and deleted. Hotel booking? I'd log on and cancel it the day before he was due to arrive. I'm guessing he never got noticed though, since it was all coming to my email. Basically, anything I could do that would inconvenience G-Man, I'd do it. This back and forth continued on for years. In fact, I still occasionally get emails for the guy. Then one day it happened. I got an email receipt for an order that G-Man had placed. It had the recipient's name and address, but more importantly, it had G-Man's address on it. Cue up, I've got a golden ticket. I finally had the means of the ultimate revenge. I took his address and I signed him up for everything I could find. Free samples, i.e. adult diapers, feminine products, and lube. Catalogs, normal, not so normal, and raunchy. I spent an entire day finding anything I could, enter his address into, and dutifully filled it out. But the coup de grace, the cherry on top? When I was finding things to sign up for, I stumbled onto a website that allowed you to order free flooring samples. They'd be various sizes, but some were 12 by 12 foot squares. Carpet, tile, wood, linoleum, whatever. I signed G-Man up for every sample I could. Then I found another site offering the same thing, and I did it again and again and again, until the point where I literally lost track of how many free flooring samples I signed him up for. My guess, it was easily in the hundreds, if not thousands. I literally carpet bombed a G-Man. Coincidentally, the email volume certainly decreased. I never heard from G-Man either. Maybe he deleted my initial email, forgot, or maybe he was buried under all those flooring samples. Either way, I'm sure once they started to arrive, he realized his mistake. I bet that to this day, he still gets items delivered to that address. And if you really want to wreck someone's day forever, give $1 in their name to one of those Christian scam companies. They'll forever be on a mailing list and solicitation for more money until the end of time. Their name will also be sold to all the other Christian scammers that solicit them for money. And our second story. You don't want my help? Great. I quit. I started a new job in late August. Much to my chagrin, I discovered that the business did not have a procedure manual in place for the business. So to help myself remember the hundreds of processes each day, I created one for myself. I wanted to do a very good job and be helpful for my team. I wanted to make as few mistakes and embarrassing moments as possible. Over the last 11 weeks, I've been chastised, threatened, and officially brought into meetings because I created it and told to delete it. When I was asked what was the issue with it, I was told that I, my manager, detest Excel because I'm not very good at it. So today, in a professional development meeting we had with her boss around banking, it was decided that she would send a spreadsheet to her boss every week. After the meeting, she turned to me and says, "Can I get you to make the spreadsheet for me?" "Thank you for the opportunity, but no, I will not." "Sorry, what?" "Thank you for the opportunity, however, you know what you need for the spreadsheet, and you're more than equipped to make it. But I'm delegating it to you. Again, thank you for the opportunity, however, the previous spreadsheets I created have been unwelcoming, and so I respectfully decline the offer." She got mad and left for the day. I put in my notice 1 week ago. I'm not surprised that her boss didn't ring me because she doesn't want her to know she can't do the job. She told me not to have spreadsheets, so no spreadsheets. Update 1. I have a meeting with the HR team member next week. I'm off to work now. This should be interesting. I've been given the silent treatment since yesterday afternoon, despite utilizing their form of communication for work-related reasons. Update 2. I'm home from work. She believes I created a spreadsheet. I didn't. It's the one that's been in the system for at least 2 years that all 5 of the other clinics use. It's the one she instructed me to use. She's told me it needs tweaking. I'm not touching it. She can tweak the heck out of it. It won't be under my name in the log. The printer has run out of ink. She's mad at the world. She ripped up me, the printer company, and me. "Miss, we don't plan ahead." "Oh, no, we don't. Didn't manage the printer supplies, and so we're completely out." She was gone for a week, unplanned, as was the 2IC. She denied me my annual leave, saying she's decided to go. I won't be there. Final update. The independent HR company they've been using has jumped on board with the company's bullying and manipulation tactics. No surprises there. They work for the company, not me. They say I'm not terminated and that my end of employment date is my resignation date, but if they were terminating me, my final pay would be due 7 days earlier. They haven't paid my superannuation entirely either, but have until the end of January to pay it. After it's paid, I'll be going to WorkSafe to file a complaint. Yeah, I'd go as far as trying to talk to her boss and inform them of what you were doing, why, and what the result of doing so was. Also, inform them exactly why you're leaving and the lead up to that discussion. You may still leave, but if you can cut off the head of the snake or manager before it bites someone else, then all the better. And our last story. My neighbor thought my driveway was theirs. My neighbors are incredibly entitled, and I put up with their nonsense for way too long. They own 3 vehicles, but only have a driveway big enough for 1. Now, a reasonable person might think they'd find a proper parking solution. Maybe park on the street, stagger their car, something normal. But nope. Instead, they've been parking their oversized van right across the entrance to their driveway, which would be fine if half of it wasn't blocking my driveway. At first, I tried to ignore it. Maybe it was a friend visiting, a temporary situation. But no, the damn van sat there every single day like it was some permanent parking fixture on my property. So I did what any sane person would do. I called the police. When the officer arrived, he asked me what the issue was. I pointed at the massive van and said, "That thing is blocking access to my driveway." At first, he seemed unsure until I walked him over and showed him exactly where my property line was. The van was parked more than a foot over onto my driveway. Now, do I personally use my driveway every day? No. But I take taxis, have friends visit, and occasionally need access. And I'm sure as hell not going to let some freeloading neighbors take over my space just because they can't figure out their own parking. When the officer confronted them, they didn't even try to deny it. In fact, they had the audacity to say, "We've been doing this for a long time," as if that somehow made it okay. The officer warned them that this was a ticketable offense and that they needed to move their van immediately. Then he turned to me and asked, "Have you spoken to them about it?" I laughed. "Nope, because we already have a hostile relationship, and this is the most peaceful way I can handle it." The neighbors were fuming, but they moved the van, for now. But as I suspected, they didn't take the warning seriously, because the next morning the van was back. This time I didn't bother calling the police. I went straight for the nuclear option and called a tow company. If they wanted to ignore a police warning, fine. Let them deal with a hefty towing fee instead. I made the call, and about 30 minutes later, a beautiful sight appeared, the tow truck rolling up. The driver assessed the situation, took one look at the van, and got to work. Now here's where things got interesting. As the tow truck was hooking up the van, my neighbor came running out, screaming like a banshee, "You can't do this! This is illegal!" Oh, sweet irony. I calmly explained, "Actually, I can. You were warned by the police. You continued to park here. Now you can pay the tow yard to get your van back." She kept screaming, but the tow truck driver didn't care. He finished securing the van, climbed into his truck, and drove off with it. My neighbor stood there, mouth open, as if she couldn't believe someone actually held her accountable for once. Later that evening, I saw her storming back home, visibly fuming. I'm guessing she just got back from the tow yard, a few $100s poorer. She hasn't parked in my driveway since. Sometimes people only learn their lesson when it hits them in the wallet. Dealing with neighbors who consistently encroach upon your property can be incredibly frustrating. In your situation where the neighbor's van is blocking your driveway, it's essential to address the issue both assertively and legally. Well played, OP. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.